Hey everyone, Ryan from Ebike Escape. Today we're reviewing the Bunch Bikes Original Cargo Electric Bike. It is fun for the whole family, so let's get into the review. Before we get into the review, if you are looking to purchase any of the Bunch Bikes models, please consider using the link in the description. It helps us make videos like this one. I also recently interviewed the CEO, Aaron Powell, who actually pitched the company on Shark Tank. So I'll put a link in the top right-hand corner of your screen if you want to check that out and learn more about the company. I will also have links to our electric bike accessories list, as well as our top e-bike brands page. If you use the links in those articles, it also helps support us here at Ebike Escape, and we really appreciate your support. With that, let's get into the walk around. Okay, let's get the walk around started. First off, it's a beautifully designed bike. I really like the wood grain that they chose in the front basket. Love the branding on there, it looks really sharp. We'll actually start here in the front. And first you'll notice that we have two reflectors up front, and then we have the holes for the seat belts. And actually underneath here, there is a front light. And so that provides some visibility if you're riding towards dusk. Although if you are looking to take this bike out at night, I would highly recommend external lights with a lot of lumens. And you'll also notice that there are holes here on the four corners of the bike. That's because they come with these hoops that go in there, and they sell accessories. For instance, you can get a rain cover, a sunshade. We just don't have those installed, but I'll throw up some pictures so you can get a good idea of what those look like. Moving on to the side of the bike here, you can see that the wheel is completely protected by this bar, and then you have these really sturdy fenders that are mounted on each side to prevent any splatter from rain. And then you also have these platforms, which can make it much easier for the kids to hop in the front of the Bunch bike. These are Schwalbe Big Apple tires, 20 by 2.15 inch tires, and they have the reflective sidewalls, definitely set up for city riding. And we've got 160 millimeters on both sides, so brakes on the both left and right of the front of the bike. Tektro hydraulic disc brakes. And what's really interesting, I kind of wondered how they are able to accomplish this, but if you look under the bike, you can actually see that the brake line comes in to somewhat of a T and goes to both sides of those front wheels. Below the bike, there is a steering damper that minimizes side-to-side steering wobble, helping the bike to track straighter. And then we also have a platform here, which again can make it easier for the kids to hop in, take a step there, perhaps a step there, and then hop in. And at the bottom here, we have a piece of metal which comes down, and then it looks like they have some kind of protector over here so it doesn't damage the frame. So this basically prevents you from turning too sharp and thus tipping the bike. So it comes in contact with the frame when you turn sharply. And there is one on the other side as well. And I talked a little bit more about this when I interviewed Aaron, but there's different models of this. This is the original, and then there's the K9, there's the school bus, and then they have a higher end version that's similar to this, although it is a bit more narrower, so it could fit through doorways. It's a little bit more nimble. It has a different drivetrain, so definitely check out the other models if you are interested in those, because they do have some different functionality. Jumping into the inside of the original here, so we have 4 seat belts for up to 4 children. And what I really like is we have additional storage here. So you can see we have a water bottle and some of my filming gear in there. And you can completely remove this to basically have an empty front bucket here, because once you remove this top piece, you can actually remove the vertical piece. So that's really handy if you're perhaps using this for grocery shopping or hauling pretty much whatever. So that's on both sides, 2 seats. You can get a optional seat pad for this for additional comfort. So really like what they did to make it comfortable for children riding, or adults for that matter. All right, let's move on to the cockpit here, and let's firstly talk about these handlebars. Very unique, definitely different from anything you'd find off the shelf to be able to purchase. And this is the one thing that you have to install on the bike when you receive it, but it's extremely easy. So unlike other direct-to-consumer bikes, this thing comes almost completely assembled, and you just have to drop in these handlebars, which it's not a big deal because you actually want to adjust them to the height that you'd want anyway. So these two bolts here keep the handlebars at the height that you want them. They are located on both sides. And you can see they did a nice job with the cable routing. All the cables come here and are wrapped up nicely and come down on the front basket. Here's that brake line that I talked about. And then you have all of the electronics as well as the shifter going into the frame here. As I mentioned, we have Tektro Aruga, not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Disc brakes, plenty powerful, and they do have motor cutoffs. And so as soon as you hit the brakes, it's going to cut power to the motor. An important safety feature of many electric bikes. Many electric bikes have this. And you can tell that Bunch Bikes really carefully considered all the components on this bike. You might have noticed that this brake lever looks a little bit odd, and that is because the parking brake is currently on. And the way I can take it off is to press on this brake and slide this piece to the left. So that's going to take off the parking brake, and now I can move the bike just fine. And they do have them on both sides, so your left lever is still your front brakes, but again, it is working to stop both of those front wheels. So there's the parking brake there. As far as shifting goes, we have this Shimano 8-speed shifter. This is a trigger shifter. I'm actually familiar with this one, and it is what I prefer compared to the thumb shifters that you see on some other electric bikes. Okay, moving on here, let's take a look at this LCD. It's really sharp looking. And so you can see we have M and then a plus and minus and then the power button. So plus and minus is obviously going to turn up your pedal assist. And one important thing to keep in mind is the pedal assist level also coincides to how much power you're going to get from the throttle. So if you're in pedal assist 1 and you're using the throttle, you're going to get less power if you're in, for instance, pedal assist 5 and use that throttle. So something just to note, that can be different on different electric bikes. And you have all the information that you would want: miles per hour, max speed, average speed, and then of course you have an odometer and a trip time as well. And to turn on the light, you just hit the power button and the light indicator will show up. And the M button, pressing that will turn on your USB so you can charge your phone with this bike. And the USB charger is actually located on the back of the selector to turn on the bike. And it is covered by this piece of rubber here. So you can take that off. I'd probably leave a USB plugged in there and then somehow wrap it around the handlebars so it doesn't get in the way, but it's ready if you ever want to use it. And because these are custom handlebars, they have wrapped the handlebars in this fake leather type material. And I want to talk a little bit about this throttle. It is a throttle I have seen only once before, and I actually find that it is quite nice. It doesn't take a lot of effort to press, so if you're using the throttle a lot, your hand isn't going to get as tired as some of the other thumb throttles that I've used. So really like this one. I think other e-bike brands should definitely consider using whatever brand of thumb throttle this is. Okay, let's move on to the rear of the bike. You can see that the riding position is going to be different than many electric bikes because the seat is positioned further back than the pedals, and you'll be able to see that a little bit in the third-person riding footage. We have metal Welgo pedals, which are sufficient, and we have a nice chain guard, as you can see, on the other side. And the bike is using this Sella Royale seat. It's a little bit wider than some of the seats you might see on other electric bikes. I find it's actually pretty comfortable. Of course, something you can easily upgrade if you want something that's a little bit more comfortable. And you can see all the cable routing comes out from the frame here and comes up here and goes to the battery. And then of course you have the shifter cable as well as the power for the motor on the other side and the hydraulic disc brake line coming here. And then you have this rear rack which also holds the battery, so you can store additional things and perhaps panniers. So that's really nice. And then this battery is a 48 volt 13.6 amp hour battery using Samsung cells. And the battery is locking, and it does have a rear light integrated into the battery. You'll note that this on the back is just a reflector on this fender. Now this battery slides out nice and easy, and you do have the charge port there. One thing to note if you are purchasing this bike is there is a power button on the bottom of the battery right here, so you will need to turn that on before powering the bike on. Moving on to the other side, we have a Shimano Acera derailleur. Again, this is 8 speeds, and there's a closer look at that 500 watt motor. It's also worth noting that the Shimano Acera is on the higher end of the entry-level components made by Shimano. I find that this is perfectly adequate for most people's needs on electric bikes. And here's a closer look at that nice chain guard. Don't have to worry about your pants getting dirty. On the rear, we also have Schwalbe Big Apple tires. These are 24 by 2 inch, so a little bit bigger than the tires up front. All right, that concludes the walk around. Let's get to some first-person riding footage, and I'll also share some third-person riding footage, and I'll give you my concluding thoughts on the Bunch Bikes Original. To start off this first-person riding footage, I'm going to take it up this hill, short but steep. I'll go into lower gear here. I'm currently in pedal assist 2, going about 9 miles per hour.
Got some passengers.
2 passengers up front, so plenty of weight, 150, 60 pounds, somewhere around there. Going pedal assist 4 here, and you can really shift down and make it really easy. Obviously, you're not going to be doing a hill fast, but you can do it. And of course, you can go up to pedal assist 5. So if you are looking at this bike, you certainly want to consider the hills in your area. I find that the motor provides plenty of assist to get up to what I would call cruising speed when you're on flat ground. So let's go down pedal assist here. Pedal assist 2 is actually where I've been riding quite a bit. And with most of our electric bikes, we typically ride in higher gears. So I'm already in 8th gear, pedal assist 2, going about 10 miles per hour. Nice and easy, working a little bit, but not too terribly hard. And what I found after we've been testing this out for about a month or so now is really top end cruising speed, what feels comfortable, at least for my wife and I, is right around that 13, 14 miles per hour tops. Usually I kind of keep it at around 12 or so. Right now I'm going 10. Got it in pedal assist 3 now. Going up to 12. Just because you're riding a bike with such a large cargo box, it's not that it feels unstable, but it's definitely a different riding experience. And I just don't find that it's very comfortable to go very fast on this bike. So definitely a bike for taking in the sights, cruising around. And of course too, when you're taking turns, you'll definitely want to slow down a little bit more. You don't want to take any turns at high speeds. So in 8th gear, pedal assist 3. I think I can get up to, there we go, 13 miles per hour. And this is what feels comfortable for us. So just to give you an idea, I won't go any higher in pedal assist. The bike is about 150 pounds. So it actually is pretty impressive. I mean, this is a 500 watt motor, but plenty capable of keeping you at speeds.
Just got a thumbs up.
Anything you'd like to add?
Me?
Yeah.
As a passenger, I would say Ryan's right on about speed. It's a little bit scary once you get to that top range.
Yeah.
Sitting in the bucket.
And if you are looking to purchase this bike, make sure you read through the user manual. There's some tips in there for turning. It's not as intuitive as a regular bike. I believe it is when you're turning, you should have your pedal down. Now on a normal bike, you would have them, parallel to avoid your pedal actually coming in contact with the ground when you're turning. But on this bike, it's not an issue, but it helps with balance when you have that foot down. And we're gonna take a turn here in a second. And on the website, Bunch Bikes equates this thing to steering a shopping cart, and I find that that is very accurate.
Agreed.
It's not like a normal bike, 3 wheels, big cargo box, all your weight up front, much different. Okay, I thought I would take this up a pretty steep hill and we can test the full capability of this bike.
I'm a little nervous.
I'm going to get a decent amount of speed. We're gonna go right away in pedal assist 5 and I'll be ready to shift down. It's a short but steep hill, much steeper than the one that I took up just a little bit ago. Okay, here we go. And this has a torque sensor, so the harder I pedal, the more the motor's going to help me, and then I always have that throttle going 14.6 miles per hour, getting to the steepest part. And I haven't used the throttle yet. I'll go down more. Slow down to 7 miles per hour, 6. Wow, I am pretty impressed.
I am so impressed.
I'm working a fair bit, but I'm in 4th gear, not even in 1st gear. There we go.
Wow.
So yes,
Yay.
this bike can make it up some hills, for sure. Okay, now let's get to some more riding footage, and I will give you my final thoughts on the Bunch Bikes original. The original by Bunch Bikes is unique, at least for the American market. These types of bikes are most often found in Europe, but I love that Aaron and the team have brought these cargo bikes to the United States. Let's first talk about price. The original is currently priced at $4,999. Shipping will set you back $99, though they do offer free shipping if you purchase $249 of accessories. Note that a non-electric version of this bike is also available for $2,999. Obviously, here at Ebike Escape, we are partial to the electric version. Now, $5,000 is a lot of money, but it's not out of the realm of what high-end e-bikes cost in the market today. And this is one unique bike. It's not like all the components are shared across other bicycles, thus the higher costs are to be expected. And the quality is also there, from the nice Schwalbe Big Apple tires, the Tektro hydraulic disc brakes, LCD, even the marine grade plywood that makes up the box. Perhaps the only thing you'll have to buy is a bell, because trust me, you're going to need it to greet all of the neighborhood onlookers, because this thing attracts attention. I'd also probably opt for the optional mirror. Nonetheless, price is something that the Bunch Bikes team also realizes might be an obstacle, and they are working on the Bunch Connect, a conversion kit which will launch on Indiegogo this summer. Remember that for some, a Bunch Bike is a car replacement, which certainly makes the purchase easier to justify. And it's a great car replacement at that, with the large cargo box and option for panniers in the rear. Worth noting is the rare in the e-bike industry 2-year warranty, which covers parts and labor. The original and their other models for that matter are going to feel most at home in bigger cities where plenty of bike infrastructure is in place, though I'm told it is also popular in coastal cities, even as a bike, to beat the parking craziness that goes along with a day at the beach. Another factor to consider is this bike is shipped to you on a pallet via a semi, and it is nearly all assembled, tuned, and ready to go. No need to go to a bike shop, as the bike has been through a checklist by a Bunch Bikes team member. I loved being able to roll it off the skid and just go. The front cargo box and 350-pound total loading capacity makes this the most capable electric bike I've ridden. Let your imagination go wild with what you might haul. We stuck to mostly kiddos during our testing, and obviously my wife and I and some friends couldn't help ourselves from giving it a go. The under-seat storage is a great bonus, and being able to remove the seats completely makes this bike ready for all sorts of chores. For longer rides with passengers, we definitely recommend purchasing the cushion to make the ride more pleasant. The 500-watt motor is plenty capable of getting you to what I view as safe cruising speeds, and as you witness, it still has some hill climbing ability. And it's worth reiterating that the Bunch Bike Original has a torque sensor as opposed to a cadence sensor. I've done a video talking about the differences, so you can check that out. But basically, as you apply more force to the pedals, the motor is going to adjust the power output higher. It feels more like a traditional riding experience where you just feel more powerful compared to the cadence systems. Torque sensors also tend to lead to longer range since the motor output adjusts to your pedaling. Range is between 20 and 30 miles, which is heavily dependent on how close you are to the 350-pound weight limit and the hills you encounter. Speed, in my opinion, is less of a factor since it's hard to imagine someone riding at such high speeds with precious cargo up front. So is the Bunch Bikes Original the ultimate cargo bike for families? It's a resounding yes from my wife and I. If you live in an area where you can picture this e-bike cruising on the streets and you can swing the cost, then I say go for it. You won't regret becoming a cargo e-bike family. Be sure to check out the coupe as well so you can decide which one fits your family best. I want to give a huge thanks to Aaron and the rest of the Bunch Bikes team for sending me this bike for review. Again, if you are looking to purchase one, please consider using the link in the description so you can keep reviewing awesome e-bikes like the Bunch Bikes Original. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Another kiss, one more. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
We're not doing it right?
You're really.
Like this?
No. Have Allie show you what she means. There we go. Thank
Whole
you.
time. Watch what you're doing. Hold it.
I hope I don't
Can I
bump
show you?
I do.